People often ask me, you know, what do I get out of this? Boy, you churn out a lot of videos. Sometimes it's a passive aggressive, backhanded compliment. But often people are just curious, or it's both, and they really are just curious. They don't know it's backhanded insult or whatever. But I don't mind it. I have an answer to it. I don't want to waste time talking about it a lot, but sort of appropriate now as I think about the things which seem so clear to me, and yet other people act as though they're seeing some painting by Escher. So anyway, yeah, what do I get out of it? Well, it's a twofold thing. First of all, what has sustained me for so long, being 42 years old, and having been online since I think I was about 14 or something, 15, the oldest. Might even have been 13, actually. Bulletin boards and doing this kind of thing, only in text, not video, but um, what has sustained me that whole period has been the fact that this process allows me to make progress on my own philosophy, right? Feedback from other people. Both new ideas, but even more than that, ideas you want to keep, people attack them, and you get to try to defend them, and eventually you get pretty good at defending them, and you learn there's certain kind of attacks you don't even defend directly. It's like if somebody comes on and says, "You're gay," I don't go, "Well, here, that's related to my idea," and blah, blah, blah. I just say, "Please don't hit on me. This is a philosophy channel," or whatever. Whether it's a canned response or a novel response based on a canned attitude, whatever. I don't care about that. I separate this out over time. I've learned to do that because I'm doing it for my own edification and also for my own enjoyment. I have activities that make me feel productive and all the rest and things that are important to me. And this interest in philosophy I cast all philosophy as a kind of a hobby. That's how the whole thing started. You know, uh, who was that guy? He was supposed to be, uh, Jesus. He was a pre Socratic philosopher, sometimes considered the father of philosophy. He was a merchant. Um, he spent a lot of time on a boat. He was thought about philosophy. That was his hobby. Um, I want to say Thales, but I don't know about that. But anyway, it's that's the original tradition. The fact that it became a profession too, well, great. But most of the great philosophers have been other things, mathematicians or scientists or whatever, or just whomever. So getting a degree in philosophy, that's a modern thing. That would be what makes you philosophical. Okay, so I do it for personal enjoyment. It's a self-indulgent because it's a hobby. I'm genuinely interested in it, so I don't have to defend why I do it. Well, I do it like one does medicine because I'm trained in it and I've proven that I'm good at it. No, I don't have to prove anything, but my genuine interest in it has made me good at it, I think. But anyway, okay, that's one reason. On the other hand, over time, if you look at my videos, I've been saying the same damn thing. My philosophy hasn't changed a bit in terms of these fundamentals. Now I've changed my description, and I have advanced many ideas in this time on YouTube. I wonder if anybody else could tell though, because if you look at a recent video on the will and you uh, that I've made, and you see all these related videos from me on the will, they say the same thing. Now, I am progressing still, so that's category one. The category two becomes, well, it's not like I can totally justify this that I'm progressing. And frankly, I'm really justifying on that I enjoy doing it. So, if necessary, one will um, create the justification or seek it out. Because if I were to seek out a justification for what I do and not find one, then I would have to question it. But since I like it, if I seek out a justification and find one, I just have to be responsible for whatever it is I find. And people can argue it on its own, or they might not even have a chance. I internally will argue it though, and try to be honest and fair. So the second half, the second category, is what I've said before. I'm into philosophical activism. I want to make people think differently. Now, I don't want necessarily to be clear or get my version of ideas accepted or any of those things. I think, those things can happen indirectly, and that's fine by me. And if people, when they learn how to think more critically, go in my direction, great. If they go in another direction, I'll be watching and go, because they had an idea I didn't have. I want many minds on this problem. Okay, because I'm a relativist, so there's a benefit always to more perspectives. You can simulate other person's perspectives, but they're just simulations. If you actually have somebody else's perspective represented by them honestly, that beats that every time, a simulation. So it's philosophical activism. I want people to think and understand certain kinds of distinctions that they don't necessarily understand. I want them to understand, for example, understanding something like theory. This kind of stuff soaks in, and if you get an idea of people, because of science, have an idea of theory, if they realize, though, because they think that theory is this little part, a theory, but it's like the whole thing. All of the knowledge is just theoretical. Knowledge about what the theory is and everything else. However many levels of indirection or direction, boom, it's always theory. Now, they don't get that. They tend to think, well, no, there's some knowledge in there. There's knowledge that theories work, or something like that. No, there's a theory that theories work. Okay, and the reason it's justified is because there's empiricism and that defines what it means for it to work, and you can check and find, oh, it did work. Okay. And all of this means there's a somewhat heuristic nature to all of our knowledge, that they're just rules of thumb in the end, because they work. Okay. So even analytic truths, the only superiority they have over a strange old wives' tale rule of thumb that also happens to work, some of those are right on, right, is that they're even more abstract. They work in a very, very broad spectrum. They're widely applicable. Okay. And if they last long enough and are widely applicable, then we use them like fundamental truths of reality. But anyway, the main point of this, I hope you see, the 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 value to me is personal, both of those things. But I justify that personal value in wanting to be productive for society. I also have built up a body of ideas that I want to record. I don't really care if other people, I don't want to be compensated for it. I'm not objecting to it or saying it's wrong to be compensated for philosophy, but I more want to record it. I want to record the conversation and the progress. It's not important that I decide that something is correct. It's important that I take part in this process. And this is a kind of, uh, super mortality where you live on into the culture. And this is available to everybody now because of the way communication medium works and is recorded. So that's what I get out of this. That's what motivates a constant production of videos. I know you were so curious. Okay, cheers.